Hey YouTube, this is Jack. I'd like to talk to you about the poisonous philosophy of political correctness. If unchecked, political correctness will destroy the West. It is the greatest enemy to the West. For examples, you have only to look to Europe, Canada, and America. It's eating away the heart of the West. And Canada right now is considering a bill that will actually limit free speech in preference to Islam. Canadians will not be able to speak out against Islam. Can you imagine? Can you imagine in America if we could not speak out against a certain group of people? If that were actually forbidden by law, that would be terrible. That would be unseemly. That would never happen in America. Or will it? Because it will. It will very soon. Canada right now has 2% of a Muslim population. America has 1%. It won't be much longer before we reach 2%. Now, Malmo, Sweden, the rape capital of the West, has 20% Muslim population. So somewhere between 2 and 20, things go crazy. We cannot allow that to happen. Political correctness is what is allowing this soft invasion of Islam into the West. And by West, I mean those countries and cultures established by the people of Western Europe and America. White people, if you will, although I don't include or exclude any race. Now, I am very aware that Christianity played a big part in the cultures of these countries. Christianity is something of a foundation for the cultures of the West. Now, I am an atheist. I'm not a Christian, but I was raised going to church. I have, good feelings toward Christianity. And I think it's the most positive of all the religions, of all the mass religions. It provides a framework for the best sort of cultures and the best sort of people. Self-sacrifice, being good to each other. The golden rule. You don't see that a lot in other cultures. And that's because they don't have Christianity. It's really that simple. I've been to China, I've been all over. They don't feel that way. In China, they have a saying that in order for one person to succeed in business, he has to screw over somebody else. That's a different mindset than those in the West have. We have a mindset, we help each other. We enable each other to do well, each other's benefit, etc. And all of that comes from Christianity, being good to each other. So that is the culture that is at stake. It is these, Christian or pseudo-Christian cultures and countries of the West. Political correctness is the greatest enemy of the West. It will bring the West down if it keeps going. Look to Europe. Europe right now is home to terrorist attacks on an almost daily basis, widespread crime and rape, and the general horror that comes along with, I hate to say it, but Muslim immigration. I hate to single out any race or religion, but that is because I have been brainwashed to accept political correctness. Again, it infects your way of thinking. It makes it so that you can't speak the truth. You can't say Islam is not as positive a religion as Christianity. Islam does not create these sort of free and open cultures that Christianity does. You can't say that according to the dogma of political correctness. You can't speak the truth. And that is why it is so dangerous. It is the cancer. Political correctness is the cancer eating at the heart of the West. And it will bring us down. Politicians in England are trying to get people to accept that terrorism is just a way of life. Going about your daily business, you can expect to possibly get blown up by terrorism or killed in a car wreck or stabbed. Terrorism is just one of those things that people in a large city must deal with. And I call bullshit on that. That is not the case. That has never been the case in the West. It should not be the case in the West. But it increasingly will be the case. We will have to grow accustomed to terrorism. In America, terrorism, once we get a certain number of Muslims, will become very common. The only solution is not to let them in. That is a non-politically correct point of view, but it happens to be the truth. Political correctness would have us say otherwise. It would have us speak other than the truth. It would allow Muslims en masse to come over here. In fact, Hillary Clinton wanted to double the amount of Muslims that were going to be allowed in America, double the amount of refugees, a suicidal policy that would have made us the next Europe. And we will be the next Europe. We will be the next Canada. Canada right now is very close to making it so that their own freedom of speech is neutered and that they can't speak ill against Islam. That's reckless, that's stupid, that's suicidal. That is political correctness gone mad. And that's only with 2% Muslims. Imagine the pressure that the Muslims will bring when there are 5% in Canada, 10%. Imagine America 20, 50 years from now. That chaos, terrorism is rampant. Look, I know all this sounds horribly racist, and we have been conditioned against this way of thinking. We have been conditioned against being open and honest and non-politically correct. Political correctness started somewhat innocuously. It began, late 80s, early 90s. Black people suddenly wanted to be called African Americans. Now that sounds somewhat innocuous, and yet I don't call myself a European American. I don't know any white people that call themselves European Americans. Calling black people African Americans only serves to divide them from mainstream America. And it worked. They started calling themselves African names, wearing African clothes, becoming more and more anti-white. Gangster rap started to become popular. Political correctness's first casualty, as near as I can tell, was the African American movement. And that did a great deal of harm to African American communities by divorcing them from the mainstream American culture. Before then, black people had been making great progress, becoming more mainstream, more part of American culture in general, less isolated. The political correctness movement killed all that. And black people are just as disenfranchised or more at the moment than they have ever been. That was a disaster. That first step of political correctness did a grave misjustice to the African American community, to the black community. They are not African American. I am not European American. They're black. And that's fine. We've been conditioned to say African American. We have to break our conditioning. I have to struggle to say black instead of African American. But they are black, and that is okay. I am not European American. Islam is not the same as Christianity. It is okay to say these things. It is okay to speak openly and honest. And if you disagree with me, that's fine. We should be able to disagree with each other and have open and honest dialogue. Unlike what they might be able to do very shortly in Canada. In Canada, they may not be able to talk like this anymore very soon. They could very quickly make it illegal to discuss matters like this. They won't be able to say, hey, you know what? Islam may not be so great. Or at least some Muslims may not be so great. They won't be able to say that. Potentially. I hope the bill does not come to pass. It is political correctness that is doing this, that is causing this wave of horror across the world, destroying our freedom of speech, destroying our rights, making our societies less safe, and transforming our societies around us into something alien and sinister that means to fundamentally destroy our culture. Muslims hate the West. They hate it and they fear it. They want to bring it down. They want to transform it. They want us all to worship Muhammad. Again, I don't say any of this from a religious point of view. I am an atheist. I don't care, except that I have always lived in a Christian country, and I know enough about the world to have seen that non-Christian countries are not as inclusive, they are not as open, they are not as free, they are not as positive, they don't strive to the same heights that Christian cultures do. The peoples of Islam used to be an enlightened and advanced culture. They studied the stars, they developed algebra, they had great potential until a fundamentalist wave of Islam swept the Islamic community a few hundred years ago, and since then they have regressed and stagnated, and in the last few decades we've had a resurgence of the ideology of the caliphate. The Muslims who believe that want the entire world to fall under the flag of Islam, and they are set on doing that. They are not even hiding the fact that that is what they want to do. And the Democrats and the leftists, those who embrace the poisonous philosophy of political correctness, are ushering them in. They are saying, hey, come on in, transform the West. We hate the West. The West is evil. White people are evil. White men especially are awful. They're evil. Everything white people do is bad. We're so bad. Come on in. Pull up a chair. Here, you can have my chair. I don't need a chair. I'm a white person. I probably sinned a few centuries ago. My ancestors sinned. Have my chair. I'll go stand in the corner. That's the mindset of the people that are destroying the West. It's not the Muslims that are destroying the West. It's the people that embrace political correctness, that are opening the gates to a foreign culture whose ideals are antithetical to the ideals of the West, and especially antithetical to the ideals of the left, the so-called left, the liberals, people that believe in women's rights and gay rights and free speech, classical liberals. Islam is your enemy. Muslims do not believe in those things. They do not believe in any of those things. By allowing them in, giving them a foothold in Western cultures, and they will exploit that foothold once here. By allowing them to do this, you are setting the stage for the downfall of the West. You need to understand this. You need to stop doing it. Those of us who are aware of what's going on need to speak out. You need to let others know, especially those who are enforcing this dogma, this poisonous dogma of political correctness. We need to stand up for truth and honesty. We cannot allow this stupid, suicidal philosophy to bring down Western civilization. And it will. It's already begun. The only way to fight political correctness is by being politically incorrect and by speaking up for politically incorrect points of view. It will be painful. It will be frustrating because we are not used to speaking that way. For 15, 30 years, we have been brainwashed by political correctness to speak a certain way, to say certain things, to think certain things. Things that are insane and suicidal to our culture as a whole. So please speak out. Share this video, click like, click subscribe, consider donating with the donate button. But most of all, keep the West free. Thank you for watching.